Hey friend, Chris Vandeviver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro. Today I want to share with you 5 arrangement features in Logic Pro that really will make your life so easy when you're composing, writing, and producing songs in Logic. When you're in the songwriting mode, you just want things to happen, right? You want to test out ideas, you want to be able to remove an entire section if you need to, or rearrange sections just very quickly without having to rearrange every single individual region in your project, having to, make sure to copy and move automation. You just want things to just happen quickly so you can get right to the heart of what you're trying to express in your songs. That's why today I want to show you 5 easy things that you can do for your own songs when you're testing out different ideas, trying out different arrangements, so on and so forth. Right here, I have a riff of my own that I've been working on over the last couple of days. And a lot of decisions go into creating a riff or an idea or a song. And you got to test out a lot of variations to get to something you're happy with. The first tool that really helped me with arranging this production was the arrangement markers in Logic. And I've talked about these before. Arrangement markers are these amazing tools that allow you to rearrange the entire contents of a section of your song anywhere you want. For example, maybe we want to move this verse before the chorus, or vice versa. And instead of trying to move all these individual regions, we could just move the marker. So check it out. If I just click and drag the verse marker, I've now moved everything before this chorus that came before it. And now I can test out that idea. And arrangement markers are so easy to set up. It's just in the global track lanes here. Just click the button right here. And if you don't see the arrangement track lane, just right click anywhere to introduce or remove these individual options. And from here, we just click the plus button to introduce a new arrangement marker. And Logic will try to do its best to estimate what kind of arrangement marker you want at a particular point. So it starts out with an intro, maybe a verse, chorus, and you just click on the label of the individual markers to change what exactly is going on in that section. So intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, or you can name it something unique. And you can freely adjust the edges of these. If you decide that this entire section is actually the chorus and this is the verse. And check it out. Let's take a listen to my riff. We'll just listen from the intro into the chorus and then from the intro into the verse when I rearrange. Awesome. And now if I move this verse, I'm actually going to open automation mode so you can see me also move some of the automation around. Everything's copied over. Amazing. It's so easy. You can also populate an entire song worth of drummer regions if you go ahead and populate the arrangement markers first. So we have 4 arrangement markers of varying lengths. Now let me introduce a drummer track lane. And when I hit create, now we have 4 drummer regions, and they're even the exact lengths of each of these arrangement markers. Plus, they also vary in terms of their performance. We take a listen to the intro hip hop beat here. And in fact, let me just turn off some of these drums right here. Versus the chorus. So handy. Let's get rid of this right now. And the other thing I love about arrangement markers is that you can populate markers for easy navigation right from the arrangement markers that you have here. So what do I mean by that? If we close this up, we don't see any arrangement markers in our project, which is problematic if you're trying to navigate your entire project by looking at those labels. So if we go to marker here, click, and then just create markers from the arrangement markers, now we have markers that are the exact same length as our arrangement markers. And when we collapse the global track lanes, look at that. We can now see and navigate our project. So helpful. Number 2 on our list is the skip cycle mode. Now we have the cycle mode, which I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with, the yellow bar that cycles a particular section. And if we just set this, really short, obviously we can cycle this very short part. But did you know if you command click the cycle range, you can switch it to the skip cycle range, which means it will skip entire sections based on how long you've set this. Let's set our playhead right around here and hit play. And now we've skipped the entire chorus. So if you don't want to rearrange your entire project using arrangement markers, just command click the cycle range to switch it to the skip cycle. And then you could skip entire sections to see how that feels for your song. Number 3 in our list is the very often forgotten about toolbar here. In fact, I'm telling myself this because I very much forget about the toolbar at the top. And it's the button right here, the little collapsible, expandable section up here. And what's helpful is some of the options right down here, which is repeat section, cut section, or insert silence. And in fact, if we just set the cycle range like so, and if we repeat section, we've now repeated everything in that cycle range. And in fact, our markers have been adapted to reflect those changes. Let's do the same thing now. Let's cut section. Beautiful. We've lost a couple of markers, not a big deal. Or we can insert a section or silence. Let's insert silence. And just like that, we have this mega gap between the first part of our riff and the latter half. So very helpful. Next up in our list is something that I've really grown to love a lot, and that is track alternatives. So right down here, I have these drum sections here using the step sequencer. And if we just click on this little double arrow here, I have 3 different versions of this drum performance. I have A, B, and C. And if we just cycle through the different options, look at that. We have 3 different ideas for drums for this song. And if we click again and go down to show and active, we can see all 3 back to back. And we can promote one to the top layer, promote this to the top layer, and we're rearranging the different options. And we can even copy and paste between. So if we just copy and paste, if you don't see this option for track alternatives, just use key command Option T, or right click on the track header and go down to configure track header. And we have all these different options for our track headers, from on-off button to mute to solo. But right towards the bottom here, we have track alternatives. And if we introduce this track alternative option, we can duplicate the existing track alternative, create a new track alternative, rename. We have all these different options. In this case, I've created a new track alternative, so we have a blank slate to work with. And then I can flip back to C, and D is now promoted to one of the inactive track alternatives. So check it out. Let's take a listen to some of these options that I've had for my drums. I'll just set this back to hide inactive. Let's now check out B. Or A. And most of this are going to be the same, so let's go down to the verse. I'm sure you can see the versatility in track alternatives. I mean, you can have as many options as you want for trying out different musical ideas, and you don't have to commit to any one particular idea. You don't have to mess around with a take folder and recomp a section every time you try out a new idea. And in fact, I would commit the following key commands to memory because this will be so helpful. And that is Control-Option-Command-N for new track alternatives. So I'll do that right now. We've created a new one. Or Control-Option-Command-D to duplicate the existing track alternative. So you don't see anything changing, but if we go right here, we now have E and D. D, we've got C. So much versatility for trying out different ideas. And track alternatives is going to tie into the last feature that I want to show you for arrangement for your songs and productions, and that is live loops. Live loops is a pretty new feature in Logic. It's a pretty significant change in the way that we work within Logic. And I think for a lot of users, we just assume that live loops is only for electronic music or hip hop or clip-based style production. But I would say that live loops is actually incredibly helpful for trying out different ideas in your arrangement without, making a mess of your existing arrangement. And in fact, right down at the end here, I have a couple of regions that are just muted because I didn't really feel that they fit the song in this arrangement as is. So let's actually open live loops. And we have both of these side by side. We have the tracks area, the live loops area. I'll close the inspector for now. And we can, specify to only look at one or the other. But you can see that my live loop section has no cells in place. I think this is another misconception when it comes to live loops, that you have to start in the grid and work out of it. But why not start in the tracks area and then populate your cells with existing regions from your tracks area? So if we just set the view over to here, I'm actually going to select all of my regions and drag them into the cells here. Now, a lot of this is repeating content, but check it out. Now I can get rid of these regions right here. And I'll set my cycle range down here so we're only playing back the cells and not the cells on top of anything else. And if we change the view over to just the cell area, just by clicking on this little double arrow here, we're switching the view. And I'll set this to only the live loop section. Now check it out. I have some of these other ideas in place, and maybe I want to hear them along with my drums. And just like that, you can start test driving ideas, and it's on a loop-based function. So you just click on cells, try things out, remove cells, and try to develop an arrangement just by playing around with the different ideas and seeing how they mesh together. And then when you hit an idea that you're really happy with, let me open up the mixer here. And if I select all of my tracks in my session, I'll collapse any of the track stacks here and go to the group section, and we're going to create a new group of all these tracks that are in my project. And we're going to name this group all for all of our tracks. And then I'm going to make sure to select track alternatives. So anytime I create a new track alternative, it will be created across all the different track lanes. So check it out. Let's switch back to the tracks area here. Let's collapse the live loops area. And now, if I go up to the top here, and we're going to create a new track alternative for this project, we've now created a new track alternative for every single track. So once we hit an arrangement that we're happy with, that we want to record from the live loops area into the project, just like that, we have a new clean slate to work with. Let me record enable the grid. Here we go. Just like that, let's switch the focus. Let's turn this off, go back to the tracks area. And just like that, you can test drive different arrangements, have them saved to different track alternatives, and then flip between the different arrangements of your project. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, as always, I highly recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week I'm posting new videos, new emails, and posts to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro. Thanks so much.